Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another exciting episode of You've Already Peaked Gaming Podcast, featuring your host, Locarthemanbeast. Also featuring me, the DjLobsterDust. Welcome, welcome, welcome. What's up, man?
What is up?
It's good.
Nah, fam, what you doing?
Making a chlor.
Yeah. Or a Culkin, brother. Jesus.
It's okay. I know that there's just like the smallest minute things. Like the bridge of the nose has to like come down and then kind of spread, kind of like mine a little bit. And then like his has just like the slightest like bump in the bridge right there, but it like starts taking and stealing from it, you know?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's a very... I'm trying to think, you know where we should go? We should try and make one in Black Desert Online's character creation, because that one is like, they have sections where you can grab each of the sections and then you can, with your mouse, just pull an angle. So it's like clay. You can just mold it to the way that you want. The Black Desert character creator is like phenomenal. I mean, that one wasn't bad though. I mean, that's
for those of you wondering, this was Dragon Dogma 2's, which is coming out the 22nd. They released their, you can start creating your character, and I just saw like a post, and it was just all these different people recreating different things. I thought it'd be fun to make our whole friend group, put them all in, see what their adventure would be like. So we were trying to make Clorf.
And this is plenty of time too that we could maybe even write the devs and be like, hey, we need this slider.
Yeah.
Dick.
Yeah. Give me that dick slider. You gave me everything. You let me do the angle of my elbows while I walk. Like, come on.
It is weird when you like thinking about it, like how many games will have like a bust or like an ass or even a dick slider in general. But then they're still so far and few between. Like when you finally get one, it's like, oh, dude, I don't know what it is. I just sit there for like,
yes.
I don't know what I'm doing. That was Baldur's Gate, like where it was like hood, no hood.
Yeah. Oh, and the physics that they kept behind it.
Yeah.
Those cut scenes where it's just dangling between your legs.
It was the funniest thing because like I picked Dragonborn or whatever. Like you don't get an option for hood. It comes no hood. Like you just get one dick total.
Yeah.
But every cutscene that fucking scaly bastard was in, just hanging there. It's like, oh, all right.
Thor's fucking hammer, just showing dominance.
Oh man, beautiful day.
Was it for you?
I don't know. I mean, it's just in general, it's been a beautiful. What is it, Tuesday right now?
Oh, it was like gross, gloomy, and fucking raining up here.
It was gross and gloomy last night. I think that whatever you got today was what passed over. So I don't know. I enjoy the gloom. I don't necessarily mean like the depressing, never seeing the sun type of gloom, but like just like that, like the feel of that autumn weather where it's like, you know, clouded skies, like the wind is kind of blowing, like there's not a ton of people outside, so like almost it sounds like the air is like quiet in a sense, you know. It's just relaxing for me. That's like the perfect like cup of coffee, a book, fucking relax, you know, sit around, like never take a blanket off, you know, type of day where you're just sitting around, just lounging, having a good time, watching videos, shit like that.
Yeah, I like it like overcast and cloudy. I just don't like it like it's cold.
Yeah,
it's like 42-ish up here, and I want to be able to be in like shorts and a hoodie.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to worry about it being like cold, damp rain where it just soaks everything and you're like, fuck.
The perfect temperature is when you put a hoodie on and you're comfortable. Like not putting a hoodie on and still being cold. Like I don't want to put multiple layers on.
Like 50, 60.
Yeah, 50, 60 is like perfect. If it's there's two conditions to that, right? Like there's the 50-60 overcast, which is awesome, or it's 50-60 and blue ass skies, not a cloud anywhere to be found.
Mhm.
Like that's like another like perfect, like, does that miss congeniality? What's your perfect date?
Yeah. Oh man.
God. Oh, so what's happening? What's new?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Nothing really. You know, Elden Ring taking back over my life, and me, I think, making the conscious decision that I'm just gonna do single player games.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they. I don't know if you saw. I sent the 23 minutes of game footage.
Yeah.
For Gray Zone, and there's something about me that's just like I have no faith in like first person shooters where I know there's going to be other people anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just assuming the worst, that like cheaters are going to be rampant and that it's just going to, I don't know.
You know, with that, so I have been following a very specific subreddit, and I think I'm about to pull the trigger. Single player Tarkov.
Oh yeah, no,
I've been watching it. I've been seeing it.
It looks awesome.
It's amazing. They give you like specific slider base to be like, depending on how you want, like what PMCs and what like different things inside the group, or like you can turn off like, okay, well, you don't want those, you know, your scavs to have like headshot, like perfect headshots and stuff like that. Like you can turn that setting off so it becomes a little bit more like you can get into combat without just like instantly dead and shit like that. The more I'm looking at it, the more I'm watching how the community is like kind of building this thing and like setting it up. Like,
oh, it's beautiful.
It sounds brilliant. It sounds so good that it's
Everything.
like, if the whole idea is like, well, they'll ban you from ever being able to play online again. Totally fine. I just don't care.
I'm so close.
I don't care. Tarkov online is so bad, period. Like, it's fun when you can play with friends and stuff like that. Totally respectable on that aspect. But all the rest of everything that involves within Tarkov, just, I don't know. It's just, I just does not feel good enough to want to play. When like your idea is
you
like,
could have it both ways. I like when you first play and everybody's kind of on the same thing, and when you ride that power curve, it's great because you're always competing. You're always like, sure, there's going to be some fuckery here or there,
sure,
but it's great. But I mean, I don't have the time to grind Tarkov fucking 30 hours a week to stay with the pack, you know? And that's where, like, I mean, if you fall behind 3 weeks in, 4 weeks in, it's almost unrecuperable. And then you're just like, all right, whatever. Like, you're getting fucking leg meted from fucking M16s. Everybody's got fucking at least 55A1, if not 995. Like, it's just like everything becomes so unobtainable that like once you get behind that wave, it's just
makes all the perfect sense as to why people cheat.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because there's no real MMR matchmaking.
Because fuck you if you do, but
I mean,
I almost kind of get it.
I want to play a game, but I can't last more than like 2 or 3 minutes in a raid. Or when I'm trying to complete objectives, I can't last more than a couple minutes because of being so far outgeared or outpaced by somebody else that not playing the game is a better option than continuing to try. Means that I totally understand why people are like, most people are like, the cheats that they use are so they can avoid other people, right? Like, whether or not that's the case, like when it's that bad, like it's like, I'm not even cheating to beat other people, I'm cheating to avoid other people. That's a fucking game that just like, it just doesn't add to the same. So when you look at the single player aspect of it, and it's like, you get all of the same effects of the online portion of it, just with NPCs that you can kind of scale around so you can learn it a little better or like play a little bit better. Yeah, you can go into the offline raids, but like because you can't collect any of the stuff, you don't get to progress anything. So it only gives you map knowledge, not like basically like progressing enough for that type of knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, you could always like turn the bosses on and say like you've never spot the goons, because the goons kind of have like a specific way where it's like nades are really important. Push them around, don't let them get set up. So like if you have one, you bring in your nades and you know like I'm gonna nade here and kind of just shove him away from that and make him be in the open. And when like say like Bird Eye likes to set up and get like an angle on you, you keep pushing Bird Eye around, Big Pipe's gonna push you, so you can push Bird Eye, let Big Pipe come at you and hopefully get that heady. And it's like that's where I can see like the offline, but like if it's not for map knowledge and just learning specifically how to fight bosses, everything else is such like a weird variable in that game, depending on what quest lines people are on that map specifically, what people are gearing for. Even boss spawns. It's like if you're on interchange and you get that chug and you see that packet loss up at the top and you know Killa's there, it's like, fuck. Any Chad that's on that map is immediately pushing for Killa. And it's basically it makes it like a PvP map all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like it goes from like I could get some quests done to like I basically just better hit the outskirts of this map. And
and if you're playing it specifically as PvP, it's fine. Again, the problem is that you end up in situations where you're just so undergeared or so there's such a wide gap between a new player or someone who's a casual versus someone who literally doesn't do anything but play Tarkov. That like there's just like your likelihood that you're winding up like, and also the thing is like, well, I can get into a raid and scope out and see what other people are like in the raid to kind of like determine, but it's like that doesn't really
only if they're looking for group though.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if they're looking to group up, there could be a solo who's just like I'm here to butt fuck everybody.
And then you get people like, you know, what's the Stank Rat or whatever, where it's just like their whole persona and channel and content is built around fucking with other people, that it's just like, this just doesn't add. So when you see that single player aspect, it's like, okay, I will lose all the dollar bills that I spent.
See, that's why I know if you didn't lose, and you don't lose, but if they catch you with it, you're just banned. And then you have to rebuy the game. Then you'd have to re-register it. And I don't even know if they do like hardware bans, how seriously they take it. I think it's stupid unless they were planning on releasing a version like that, but it's been so long. Like, why haven't you yet? The single player, what it allows you to do to actually progress through your story, to not have to worry about like the time of a wipe. If you just want to play the story through, if you want to get, I've never gotten Kappa. I've never done like Lighthouse. I just don't have the time to dump into it. To do that aspect of wanting to pursue that, to maybe see the game towards its like completion and everything like that, is very appealing. Letting you play the game at your own rate. Not even like just, I completely understand wanting to just like, I don't want to fuck with PvP. Like PvP is fun, but like sometimes you just don't want to. Having that option to just keep getting your stuff and like the workarounds they had for it and the quality of life, like there's so much in that single player Tarkov.
So much.
That's fucking amazing.
So much. Like, and I think a lot of it is just taking it from the offline or online portion of it, like just clean so much of the game up, period. You know what I mean? But then also just the things that they've done, like you just having more control over how the game can be played a little bit. It just doesn't seem like it's that big of an issue. Right?
It shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. Right. It should, again, unless they're taking money for it, which it doesn't seem like they are. They've got like, you know, like help us out through Patreon or fucking donate through PayPal or shit like that. But like they're not requesting money for anything. So there's no legal matters in it. So it's just a Nikita fucking ego punch is all it's doing. Yeah, so it's like, whatever. But the more I look at it, the more appealing it is, especially because I just don't have the time. Like I like playing shooter games in that aspect. Like I want to play a shooter game. I've been fucking hounding for shooter games lately. And so like when I see stuff like, because like I still play the Gamma mod all the time. And the Gamma mod is like really fucking cool. Like they just had their second anniversary update and like they've updated a bunch of new shader stuff and things. The game just, every time I log or just load up the game and like update all the mods, it just looks that much better. It just looks that much cleaner and crisper. Like I hadn't played in like probably like a couple weeks, and then like loaded up after the 2-year anniversary. I was like, oh wow, this is fucking sick looking. Like even from the video I shot to what it is today, almost looks night and day difference. And
That's
it's like,
that's how it should be, you
yeah,
know? Like Tarkov, Stalker, Gamma Mod, single player, like, but the fact that like Stalker, granted, it's like a much older game, but they have Stalker 2 coming out and you don't see them like fighting it and trying to fucking
yeah,
get people arrested, sued, shit like that, banned.
no, but it's also a Ukrainian company that's doing it. So like, if they did that,
you got a Russian company.
well, that's what I'm saying. Let the Russian company be the fucking bad guys in this scenario. I don't know, man. It's shitty. It feels bad. Because I'm like, I keep looking at Tarkov. I've been watching like some videos and stuff, and I'm like, God, this does look so much fun. And then I instantly remember playing it. I'm like, there's nothing fun about it.
There is though.
The fun, oh yeah. I mean, okay, it's really hard to like be on the other end, but it's like the fun mostly comes from like the friend groups and stuff. Like even running around solo does not hit the same way that you couldn't just do the same thing in a single player aspect. You know what I mean?
And here, there. I tell you, I've been chasing the high of like my first, like me and Rye in woods pushing up on lumber and like hearing something and turning and just having that placement, knowing, and like some fucking like level 43 gets fucking beamed by me, little level 11 with an SKS, just getting that like fucking one clean headshot, taking all of his fucking gear out, like just that like that first acknowledgement is like, oh, I'm learning in this game, like shit like that.
Yeah,
there is no better feeling, and you don't get that really without that online presence. But the times that you get that feeling versus how many times you just lose all of your shit from something stupid, from some gunshots you can't even hear. You just hear your guy like,
yeah,
and like you don't know if it is a cheat. You know, you see some guy with a silenced RFB at one time in the map, and then you're getting shot by a 308. The RFB can literally like not be silenced. Like you'll hear it silenced like across the map. So the chances of seeing that guy then dying to a 308 later, but not hearing fucking shit, kind of makes you lean like there's cheats for everything. There's fucking vacuum cheats to take all the good loot off the map. That takes my interest away. Like there's just so much. It's such a good game that's just plagued by so many fucking problems.
Which is why Gray Zone looks like it could be interesting if their hard focus is trying to get, but like you were saying earlier, it's gonna be an online game. It's gonna have fucking people in it, which means that there's going to be cheats.
So, to their credit, they've talked about the size of the map being such like a huge thing and how factions load in. There's going to be 3 factions on the map at one time. Each faction will have 3 4-man teams. So you'll have your 4-man and then 2 other 4-mans on the same side of the faction. I don't know if friendly fire is a thing, but so you'll at least have like that many people. And like the size of the map is so big that unless you're both pushing for the exact same objective that has to line up, the chances of you running into people and having that PvP is supposed to be very slim.
Yeah, there's like there's a few like main POI points where like it's going to be.
This is all pre-cheats though. Like we don't know what's going to happen as soon as it releases.
No developer makes a game with the intention of cheats being in their game, right? But like, and so the thing is like looking at primarily like ESPs and stuff like that. It doesn't like DayZ maps are fucking huge, and ESP cheats, people will run halfway across the map or more, the entirety of the map, just so they can use their cheats. It doesn't matter how big a fucking map is. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter anything about the game as long as there is an online presence and cheats are available.
Yeah,
you're gonna have it.
And there's the kicker, and that's what. That's why, I swear, like I just playing like Elden Ring, not even like I put in a lot of hours. I'm just fucking farming like map locations and stuff like that, finding my graces. It just felt good, you know, like to have a game that works with like no bugs and you're just fucking cruising around. You're just enjoying everything you're seeing around. You're fucking fighting.
Yeah.
it's almost like, is it worth it? Is it worth like how pissed off and fucking angry I get when I play some games? I don't know.
Single player, I think, is where you peak. You know what I mean? It's like at a certain point,
yeah.
I just don't have time or patience for certain things, like, or to keep up with like crazy ass changes and stuff like that. Like, I need the slower, like, not slower. I just need the pause button.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't need the gameplay to be slower in a sense. I just need things to be like, I'm going to pause. I'm going to get up and go stretch my legs, go take a piss. I'll fucking go get something to drink, come back and sit down, and then unpause the game and continue going.
Yeah.
That is ginormous. I don't know if it's because I
having to run in between lobbies and shit.
God. You know, we still do that when we play with friends. We'll sit online all night and we'll play games. We played Helldivers the other night, and God, we did something else. I think it was, we played Hell Let Loose a couple nights in a row. And those matches can take fucking forever.
Hours.
So last night, me, Aaron, and Will were playing Hell Let Loose. And they were in a game, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. I got done editing a bunch of stuff. I was like, I'm gonna hop in. Hopped into the map. I couldn't get on their team, so I got on Germany's side. And then there was like 3 minutes left in the game. Okay, sick. We're about to lose anyway. Let's go. I don't know. Maybe my presence just gave morale. But we then went fucking to win the match, and we were back at like 0.2 or whatever. So it was like every time you cap a point, it adds another 30 minutes, or 30 or 40 minutes onto the match or whatever it is. There was like 4 more points we capped. So it was like an hour and 15 minutes or some bullshit after. I was like, holy fuck. Like, weren't you guys going to win? And I was like on the other team. So I was like, guys, there's an outpost here. There's a Gary here. Like, go cap this. Trying to get the points to go. And it was just.
I was on Germany's side, but you're fucking the informant just feeding shit back. I've cracked the Enigma code.
And it just went. And it was like, we got done. And I was like, fuck, man. Like, that was a lot. That felt like a lot. That was like a full day's work, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And then of course there's shit in that game too, where it's like, did you really get that shot, dude? How did you clip me? There's like a couple people. It's like you're sitting behind bushes and you hear the same shot planking the bush, like directly where you're at. And you're like, okay, well, this guy obviously can't see me. So then you move like down to the other side of the bush, and then the shots are plinking directly at there, and I haven't left the side of the bush. There's no way for anyone to see me. It's like questionable.
Insane, dude.
Questionable.
I know it's not just first-person shooter games, but it seems to be the most prevalent.
Yeah,
like that's where the people want the fucking competitive edge, if you will.
Absolutely.
And I love FPS, but it just like. It's hard for me to get excited anymore about it.
Yeah.
PvE doesn't quite do it for me in the way that I want, but I know PvP, it's like, who has an anti-cheat that works at this point?
Yeah, no one.
Yeah.
I did some research because I was trying to find an online FPS or shooter community that had the least amount of cheaters, or that wasn't overly riddled by cheaters, or had cheaters, but then was dealt with relatively quickly and smoothly.
Did you find one?
Not a single person could agree on anything. Not a single person could come up with an answer. I went through forums. I was like chatting with people. I was messaging on different YouTube channels, stuff like that, to try and see if I could find something that like a collective amount of people would say, like, this is probably your best option. Not a single fucking one. And that has to say something. That has to say something. The fact that Activision, Blizzard, Microsoft, King, whatever the fuck they are now, has like pretty much stopped support for older Call of Duty games, and in doing so has also stopped their anti-cheat system on older ones. And people, so if you go back and you play like Black Ops or you play Cold War and you play online, the likelihood that someone is using some like really aggressive cheat, like not like or even a hack, not like necessarily like, oh, they can just fucking, no scope you from across the map, you know, like that if they find you, they have a chance to like activate your account information and stuff like that. Like really fucking out there wild shit is happening in the older Call of Duty games. And Activision's like, well, they're older games. We're no longer like supporting them. So, you know, shit happens. We built a brand new anti-cheat for our new fucking Modern Warfare Warzone, whatever bullshit 3.0 bullshit that we have. And so we're not going to go back and try and reintegrate it into older tech that doesn't really matter for us. And so it's like, that just feels fucking bad in its own right.
Yeah.
I want to see the tipping point. I want to, and then this is, because what did you send me the other day where it was like, people were just getting fired or games were getting canceled, whatever that Star Wars game, I think it was a Star Wars game.
Oh, just places all across, just closing
constantly.
Just fucking like the people at like, was it YouTube, Google something and YouTube Music in the same town in Austin.
Did you?
Like one was like in the middle of like giving a speech.
They were at
like at City Hall.
They were at it was a federal whatever the hell they were. They were in the building. They were out there giving the speech. They were trying to make a union. So they were in the speech get a union going. 50 employees are like, there's only 50 of us here. Thank you very much for taking your time, blah, blah, blah. Like, we really want to like express why we want to do this. And that girl walked up and was like, hey, by the way, they fired all of us. All 50 of us were fired.
Yeah.
In the process of them trying to just explain why they wanted to unionize.
And then YouTube Music's Austin division got like fully canned.
Yep.
Studios are shutting down left and right. It's like, what the fuck is going on?
I mean, something in the tech world is about to pop. Something's happening.
AI.
That's one.
That's the first thing that comes to my mind.
I definitely think
it's like if they could do like the silly shit that we want it to, like we know like there's a premium battle pass version of their AI. That's
100%. Nvidia just got hit with a lawsuit. They're in one of the newer ones along a long list of fucking companies that have been hit with lawsuits over AI and stolen art or stolen, you know, whatever. I guess this is the way they're also getting around it too. And this is it's so bad, dude. From the top down, it's just so bad. So if you have art and was paid for the art or artist that was paid or whatever, technically you've made the sale of the art, and the sale of the art can go and be used in any way, shape, or form. Cannot use the specific art, but then can detail off of that art because you've made a sale of it. You've sold it to a public entity or a private entity at that point that has allowed you to then do. You don't keep the specific copyrights of that once it is sold. It's really like, I was reading about it. It's not, maybe I'm not explaining exactly correctly, but like in the gist of it is once something is sold, you've then like relinquished the property of that item because the sale has been made to somebody else. They now own that art. So if they decide to take that art and shift the colors in it and then do something with it, they can.
Sounds real ambiguous.
Yeah.
That sounds real.
Yeah.
I mean, we already knew AI is going to be like a slippery slope, but and what's crazy is like if they have precedent and like that's what that's backed up on, they can put that in the code for it to be like, oh, I've like loosened my reins a little bit. I can take this as long as I switch one little thing on it.
Sure, absolutely. And I mean, how far they'll need to switch it to like not have it that is like infringing on intellectual properties, like. Could be,
and they probably have their own AI that just does that.
Yeah. if I keep it X way, will we go to jail? Yes. Okay, let's move into this. You know what I mean?
It's wild.
Dude, it's sketchy. It's sketchy. I mean, and just like the way that we're trying to automate everything. You know what I mean? Like fast food places where we automate food services and things so we can reduce people. I know that's a minimal point, but it's like that mindset and thinking is where big companies and corporations are starting to slide into, where it's like push everyone else away because we'll just let computers do it all. And then one EMP bomb goes off and there's nothing that does anything. You know what I mean?
How do I get my Big Mac? Wasn't there a certain percentage of the last Modern Warfare that was made by AI?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did they have like a lawsuit because they didn't disclose how much of it? They said,
I think
over the past 10 years, we've had developers and shit like that, and they had to refund like a fuckload of people.
I don't think it was Call of Duty that started it, but I do know that there's a large portion of the voice actor community within video games that have started like mostly turning into lawsuits against bigger name companies because they have been pushed out of their roles because everything's going AI, but then AI is just using their likeness and like changing octaves and like tone and stuff like that to then just basically do whole dialogues for people. Games are whack, bro. We got to move out of them. We got to get away from them. I love video games. I will always love video games.
Tabletop. Just all tabletop from here on out.
Card games. Let's go back to playing poker.
Here's the segue. Tell me about this fucking game. I still don't understand how a card game could be a fucking roguelite.
It's so sick. It's so sick, Brad. Okay, imagine just poker, not Texas Hold'em, just regular 5-card draw. The way that the game works is, in the roguelike sense, is every run has a chance to fail because you have a small blind, big blind, and then a boss. The boss has some affix to it. Okay. Small, big will say X amount of chips you need to beat. So it'll say, 400 chips for the small, 600 for the big, right? Whatever it comes out to. So you pick it, then you play your cards and they count the cards, and then that's whatever it is. Well, depending on what you pull, pair, 2 pair, 3 of a kind, flush, whatever it comes out to, you get a multiplier off of that. So say you play 2 pair, you're going to get a 2 times multiplier, but you increase the amount of chips that you're going to get. So if a single, like a regular pair will give you 20 chips times 2, and then whatever the number of the cards are. So if there's 2 2s, you'll get 4 points, 4 chips, 20, that'll be 24 times 2 for the pair, right? And then that's how the multiplier works. So the way that the game works, the roguelite aspect of it is you play your cards to try and beat your bind, but you get these joker cards. These joker cards have different things to them. Every ace will give you a 4 times multiplier. Every even card will give you a 4 times multiplier. If you play specific cards in specific orders, or you do flushes or straights over it, you'll get more of a multiplier or more chips and things like that. And so you pick and choose your build around what joker card you get. Oh, I got my flush card first. Okay, I'm gonna start building flushes out. Then you can buy booster packs, not real money booster pack in game, because every time you beat a bind, you get a blind, you get a X amount of dollars. And those X amount of dollars can be used to buying other cards in the shop in between each of the blinds. And so this is how you level your character up. Okay, I've got $10. I've got a joker card here that's $5, and I got a booster pack for 4. That joker card will give me X multiplier by playing all kings, and then I buy a booster pack. The booster packs are either an upgrade to the cards, so you can pick the booster pack for cards, and it'll say like, oh, the 6 now no longer is a suit based. You can just play it wherever you want it. Or it'll make it a gold foil, and it'll say like, okay, well, if you keep this card in your hand till the end of the run, you'll get X amount of dollars off of it or whatever. Or there's like celestial cards or tarot cards or planet cards. The planet cards will buff your the runs multiplier. So like if I had my pair was times 2, well, I get a planet card that increases the it levels up the pair. Now that pair goes to level 2, and then the multiplier goes up by times 6 or whatever it comes out to. So depending on what Joker card you get, depending on how you get your planet cards built, then you start to build these multipliers up where you're just trying to stack as much to beat the blinds. When you get to the boss rooms, the affix that are on them are like all diamond cards are now debuffed, or you have no discards, or you can only play one hand, shit like that. So the roguelike element of it is you trying to like build yourself like a deck and like these Joker cards to be able to play cards to get the biggest multiplier, the most chips out of it to beat those blinds. And it is fucking addicting. It is so good. It is so good. And it's like scary good. It's like you're on a run and like you beat that, and he's like, oh fuck, you get like a big hit, it just clears it. You drop cards, you get it in one hand, you get a fucking, you know, all this, oh my god, I'm walking away from it, and then immediately fail the run. It's like, oh fuck, that shit happens. Okay, go back in, and then it's like hand after hand after hand. It's like fail. I got up, I walked the room. I was just walking, pacing, like angry. I was yelling at the computer. The fuck are you giving me? Just like full on just anger mode. It's so good. If you have a gambling addiction, it's the worst game for you. But at the same time, if you have a gambling addiction, it's the best game for you. Because you're not spending any real money. You know what I mean?
I'm not a psychologist, but you sound like a fucking crazy person trying to explain one of those overly elaborate like slot machines to me, those ones that are like fucking like a full story call. Yeah. It's got like an 86-inch screen on
the front of it.
No, you don't understand. If you hit that, you go that double multiplier. You see it, when it comes down, it drops that. And I've looked, I googled while you're telling me all this. There is not a Balturo slot machine yet, but I feel like this has to be like R&D for them to be like, it worked well on Steam. You think people pay real money for this? I think if we put it in here, but like they just like they let you play it on Steam and they just change a couple mechanics, so you're just behind the curve,
just
you
enough.
Think you know what's going on,
just enough.
You're like, oh no, we almost had it though, you know.
I like the it's addicting in the sense of like when you get Jokers, right? Certain Joker cards, it's like, oh, this run was fucking outrageous. It was so good. So you're like, I'm gonna repeat that build again. It's a roguelite. I'm going to repeat that build again, but you don't get those Joker cards to pull, and you're just struggling all the way through it. And it's just like anger just setting in, and you're just fucking, I want it. I want it. I'm playing fucking 2 pair cards because I can't get anything else. The cool thing is you don't always have to, you don't have to put 5 cards down. So if you just want to play a pair, you can drop 2 cards and hold the rest of your hand. Instead of you can discard cards and then redraw and shit like that. So there's a lot of like cool things. Like you get X amount of discards per run that you do, or per hand that you pull. So like you can kind of like pick and choose what to do and how to make it. It's fucking so interesting. It's so smart. It's such a, you know, the game was developed by someone who has a gambling addiction. Like, you know, this guy got out of rehab and they were like, do something positive with your life. And he was like, I'm going to make this game. I'm going to ruin everyone.
Now, excuse me for asking, because I feel like I know the answer. How do you win?
It's a roguelite. So there's X amount of runs you have to do.
So there is a finish point.
There is a finish per thing, and then it goes up in difficulty. So small, big, and boss, and then it loops back around small, big, and boss, small, big, and boss, small, big, and boss, until you get to the very end, which is like 10 runs deep. And then it's like, so small, big, and boss for 10 of those. And then when you beat that one, you've completed a full run, and then it just sets you back over, and you can increase the difficulty and then go from there.
So it's not like you're like, it's not like congratulations, you have enough chips to pay off your fucking reverse mortgage on your house.
No,
like gives you back. Like, there is an end point. Okay,
there is an end point.
In my head, I'm like, this just seems fucking terrible. Somebody with a gambling addiction, like, oh, but I can just reset. You just reset, and then they relapse. And they go to a casino, and they're just fucking lost in the sauce.
Well, and that was the thing. Because I was on a run for so long, and like I was moving and grooving, and it was clicking. I was like, I could probably go to the casino right now. I was like, woo, wait a minute. Oh, take a breather. Like,
oh man,
it's fucking addicting. I will catch myself like when I first picked it up, I was working from home that day. It's like I had to do some bids and stuff. We were supposed to play Elden Ring, I think. And I was like, I'm gonna get some bids done and some shit like that. And like, was writing some bids, and I had it up on my second monitor. So I was just like in between bids, like take a break, I'll play a little bit. And then the next thing I know, I like blinked and it was like 3 hours later. And I was like, I need to go back to work. Like, no one called me, thank God. It's like, holy shit. You just get lost in it. And then, like I said, if you like poker and you like roguelites, it's a great fucking game.
nah.
I'll have to show you after this. It's so
Nope.
I will show you. Brad,
I want no part of
you
it.
just want to watch it for just a little bit, because I'm telling you how great of a waste of time it is.
Nah,
You want single player
Don't need it.
games?
not like this.
Indie companies?
Not like this.
Just watch one time.
No. I've already had my little like run in with like gambling addiction. I know what that's like.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to like
Yeah.
make $200 on your shift and the blackjack table's still open. Let's try to double it. I know what it's like going home to some fucking degenerates fucking waiting for the 5 a.m. fucking tennis open over in fucking England to start because they bet money on it, and then you have access to their bookie that you can also put fucking $80 on a fucking 4-1 for Djokovic to fucking win. Nah, I'm good. I don't need
See, I want
shit like this where you're giving me the Jack Nicholson and fucking anger management. Like I don't need that. I don't need that.
I will no longer do sports betting. And because it is one, like especially NFL, I don't trust any of that shit anymore. Like they got scripted shit. But outside of that, it's there. You have no control over it. I at least have some control over what cards I play. Like blackjack's a little bit more. Blackjack's my game. That's my crux. And a lot of it is because you're just trying to play the cards that are already on the table, right? Like that's really what it comes down to. Like you're kind of just counting and you're just trying to play. Like I don't think I can win this hand, but I definitely don't think that I can lose it if we play in a specific way and beat the dealer, or just let the dealer bust. We can probably come back from this. I may not play hard, but I can still work it over. Like that's the scary thing with blackjack. When it came to Hold'em was hard because it was like, you just got your cards and you're just hoping for the flop to play well. And you're hoping to bluff hard enough. Regular poker just is not good money-wise but you still had some control over it. I can pick and choose what cards I want to play with. I have an opportunity. So when I lost, it was like, well, I did the bad. I thought I could do something good, but I can't. When you just give money to like sports bookies, you're just at the mercy of fucking whoever decides to win that game, you know?
Yeah. Except for prop bets.
Okay, true.
I've never had more fun than counting. Who was it? Katy Perry performed for Super Bowl. Seahawks were in the Super Bowl, and we had the over under on Marshawn Lynch having more crotch grabs than Katy Perry during her halftime show.
Yes,
like shit like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not even in it for money anymore. Like I put some money down, but like it just adds up to the game. As far as actually betting on the overall outcome, who's gonna win, lose.
Yeah, that's a slippery slope. Now, if you've got a fuck ton of money to blow and you win, oof, that's a high. That's another one of those highs that are
wins.
Who
do you know that wins? I don't know many people that wins.
I mean, I've only won. I think the most I've ever won on like a betting thing was like $5,000 or whatever, and like that felt good. I could only imagine if that $5,000 was $1 million or 100,000. You know what I mean? That's a high that's hard to fucking get away from.
And there's the problem. You're chasing the dragon.
I went in with 10. I came out with 100. In Cliff's mind, that's 90,000 in savings. Yeah, it's dangerous. Which is also why games like this is nice, because it will.
I don't think it satiates like you're thinking it does. I think it's fostering an environment for that mindset to grow and possibly become unmanageable.
The only reason we swapped to these fucking things is we're sick of smoking cigarettes and smelling like an ashtray. Still working the addiction. Instead of using my addiction and wasting my money and not being able to pay my fucking bills, I'm playing a game that like still satiates that feeling and that emotion without me effectively losing my house.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess. It's kind of like Cliff being across the street from a school. Like, look, I can just look at him. I'm not touching him anymore, you know? Like I get it. I don't think one's necessarily any better than the other, but
there's also that thing too. Is like, I don't know. Like, I want the win. I think that's why I want to play multiplayer games because I do want that win.
Stop. Pause. That brief blur of insanity is what I'm talking about.
I mean, I know. I keep it in check, man. I keep it in check. I've lived in a straitjacket for years. I mean, it comes loose every once in a while, but it's like I'm in there, man. I'm not getting out. The arms might get free, but I still can't scratch myself, because I got the mitts.
Oh man.
Oh. Oh, I'm cooped up, man.
Halidol. Just nurse Halidol.
Yes.
Oh, bet 10 more.
Oh man, it sucks.
Fucking Christ. All right. What? I don't know. What games are on the horizon for you that you're excited about? Are you excited for Dragon Dogma 2?
I am. I religiously played the first one, so I'm really excited to see what the second one will bring. I think that this is if we all got into it. So I don't think Dragon Dogma 2 is going to be a multiplayer game in the same way that
it's all single player from what I've gathered.
There is a multiplayer aspect to it. At least the first game was. I'm sure they've rolled it over. So basically you get these things called pawns in the game. They're like NPCs that help you, and you can kind of build them like how you were building Cliff tonight. Like you can turn that into a pawn so that he could always just run with you in your party or whatever. And like you can build them specific ways and like give them certain gear and stuff like that. Well, the way that the pawn system then worked is then in Dragon's Dogma 1 was if you were friends with certain people, you could bring their pawns into your world to help you do certain things. So there's that type of multiplayer aspect. So it was always really like smart of you, if you had a good friend or whatever, to make sure your pawns were well upkept and well like beefy, so that you could cycle them to other worlds and they could help. And then as they help beat other bosses or things in other people's worlds, they came back with shit for you. So when you went back and got your pawns, there was other loot or things that they got or experienced or some shit like that. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I played. So there's that type of like multiplayer aspect of it, but not in the sense that me and you would ever play together. But I definitely think that it's going to be a good in between us playing Elden Ring and then waiting for DLC in June.
Yeah.
Plus, if it's anything like the first game, fuck, it's just so much fun to run around, like just jumping off of stuff and the grabbing onto beasts and just fucking just taking a knife to them and just axing them while the whole thing's going on around. It's really a cool, interesting game.
So one of like a gameplay of like a thief running up on like a troll's leg and just stabbing his leg and it just falls over, grabbing his leg.
Yeah. It's fucking cool, man. It was really an interesting game. Aaron said that he has it. He said he was going to play it. I was like, oh, cool. I'll play it with you. He's like, it's multiplayer? I was like, no. But I will play it and get a pawn set up, go from there. It'd be cool to just fuck around and see that game again. The end game content of the first one was fucking cool too. Like going down in like this like underground, I don't know how to describe it, lost space world, end of the universe cosmos type of thing. And like there's a dragon boss that was down there that had like 9 gajillion health or some shit like that, and you were never there to beat it, but it was a community based thing, so its health would go down based on how much the community put into it. And so if you were there for the final kill at the end of it, you got some like crazy fucking gear and like mats and stuff for like creating this like cool ass shit. So it was like, that's what like everybody ran. They just went
Every
back.
single person just pushing.
So like every time you came in, the boss's health was just a little bit more like down. You're just like, go, and fucking just work it down. Like there's a giant boss that would take, you know, anywhere from a week to a month to beat, depending on how many people were trying to fight it at one time. It's just a really cool, interesting idea.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. Other than that, man, there's not much.
Yeah.
So today is Friday. Haha. But for us, so tomorrow, Wednesday, yesterday's, but next week's 3rd, 4th of the month, Horde Night comes out for 7 Days to Die.
Yeah.
For my 7 Days to Shop. I had an amazing amount of time recording that episode.
Yeah.
It's so good. I don't want to ruin it for you.
The last one, you were like, oh man, I know I said I wasn't going to fuck around, but here I am. I got to start playing house real quick.
Yeah. So that was our whole idea. And like we pushed pretty easily. It didn't feel, so one of the things that, I try not to overly spoil it for you, but you can watch it tomorrow. It's no big deal. But for everybody else, hopefully you've already seen it. So if not, go back and watch it after this. But most of my Horde nights are like, I deal with like a huge wave of fucking bullshit and I take care of the bullshit. And then there's usually like a couple minute lull where like I can kind of like breathe. I can kind of check things out, repair things that need to be repaired and gone from there. So because I increased the difficulty, I increased the amount of zombie spawns, and we took care of it in the wasteland, there was no breathing room. Horde started, and when Horde finished, it was a battle the entire time I was in the game. I didn't have a single breathing room until the very end of it, and it got bad. And so like it was just like boom, 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 boom. I got done with it, and it was like I finished the episode. I had to get up. I was physically exhausted. Holy shit! Because like Horde nights are like 10 minutes long, which doesn't sound like a lot. We play games for 2-3 hours like consecutively
Until it's 10 minutes of just like heightened awareness.
It's because every day is an hour, right? So it's 50 minutes of just like and then 10 minutes of nonstop was just like, it was a lot. I was like, I got done. I was like, I'm fucking winded. I am like exhausted. Like my adrenaline level was high. And it was what this video was the exact thing I love 7 days for. It was all the planning, the prepping, the process of gathering all the stuff and doing all this shit and seeing it come to fruition, and maybe having it not in the way that we really wanted it to, and then trying to do everything in my power to make sure that there was another episode. You know what I mean? And so like that type of, not even just the episode, but the next day playing or whatever, that type of gameplay for me was like, it was huge. And it was just, I was just like, wow, like kind of like fell in love with like 7 days, even though like that's hard because it's always going to be top of my list. But it was just one of those things. It was like, man, this is why I play this game. It's so much fucking fun.
Yeah.
So
now question. Day 4 of Drunken Boxer. I'm a little lost. Were you actually hungover? Like you yourself? Or is that you playing character like, oh, I'm just drinking all the time?
No, I had drank a little bit, and then we had the daylight savings. And so I woke up because it was Sunday or whatever I recorded it on, or whatever day daylight savings was.
Yeah.
And I was so just like, I didn't know what was happening. And like in my head, I was like, I got to get back to Bob and pick up all the fucking beer. Because like I've got a Horde night coming up and I've got nothing. I'm like sitting. Like it was like
so stressful watching that one. Waiting for you to get more beer. You're like, I have 2 beers, and you're just holding and looking around.
I'm like trying to actively avoid taking on fights. I get all the way to Bob's and there's no fucking beer there, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening anymore. I don't know what to do. Like I'm struggling. So. And then it was like all night, like I was like waiting to record the episode. Like I start the game, press record, and then just, you know, just sit and wait or do a little bit of mining or whatever. I couldn't move at all. There was like fucking zombies all over because I was in the middle of the city, and I was like, I have 2 beers. A beer is 2 minutes long. I need to have at least no less than six beers for a Horde night. I don't have that, and I got 2 more days before I get to Horde Night. Like I'm struggling at this point. So I'm like, I have to hit missions just so I can get money, just so hopefully there's a beer in a fucking vending machine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, woo.
That one's a little stressful. just because of the limitation of like, I have to be drunk if I'm fighting.
Yeah. I whacked the bird with the wrench. And I was like, God damn it. Like, it was just like a complete accident. Cause I went to swap to my fist. I just pressed the wrong button. I swapped to the wrench and just beat the bird with the wrench. Or like that zombie scared me. I just turned around and like instinctively punched it. And I was like, oh wait, hold on. Let me drink this beer real quick.
Yeah.
It's like, there's a lot of things that like, it's hard to keep up. I realize that series takes a little bit more of my focus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't play it like I did that day.
Every other thing.
Yeah, exactly. I can't play it in the loosey goosey manner. Like I'm on time for every time that I start a POI, I'm on a time frame and I gotta go. You know what I mean? And so that's why I've been like rushing through it, because I'm like, I gotta get through it long enough that, or fast enough that I have time left over, because if not, I have to drink another beer and that just wastes so much of my stock that I already don't have. So
Yeah.
it's cool. It's an interesting playthrough. I don't know how far I'm going to go with it. I think it more or less, it was just kind of a challenge. I wanted to just do that. I'll take on the Horde and see where it goes from there. Depending on how we build a Horde base. And I've got some other cool ideas for just like challenge stuff for 7 days, but like, I'm also at a point where I'm like, I don't know. I'm kind of trying other things. I recorded my face on that fucking spooky game.
That one. That had me dying. The headphones falling off.
Fucking just
and like there's like times where it's like, oh, and you're like, oh, you motherfucker. And then you can tell the real ones were like, where you get a little too comfy. And like,
I think I got jumped 2 or 3 times in that game where like they like hit
3 good ones.
3 good ones. And I got hit the one where I was climbing up the ladder and the thing ran at me was the first, like I think it was one of the first ones I got like really hit. That was the one where I was like, all right, that one got me. And I was like angry about it. Because I was like, I'm going to be cool. Like, it's going to jump me a little bit, but I'm not going to get fucking scared. That one got me. And then when I was looking out the window and then went to bolt, and the one where I jumped and my headset flew off me, that one I was like, I had like a neck pain afterwards.
Just a fucking instant whiplash, but like your head like Cosmo Kramer coming through a fucking door. Oh my God.
Oh, man.
I was fucking crying laughing at that.
That was so stupid. I had a lot of fun. I could not, if you had to tell me, if someone sat down and explained the story to me, I still don't fucking understand what was happening in that game.
Yeah.
I also think that I like between ADHD and like slight dyslexia and like how I read, as I don't read fucking, what are they? Not consonants. Not consonants. Yeah, but it might as well be.
I don't read consonants.
No, it's, what are the fucking prepositions? Like I skip prepositions when I read, like to, be, a, like, and then conjunctions. Like I skip that. So when I'm trying to read out loud, I realized rewatching the video, I was like, I fucking need to go back to school. Like I sound like a moron. There's like so many times that like my brain like reprocesses things so quickly. And I go back and I'm like looking at that, like that didn't make any fucking sense. Like reread it and like, oh, that's why. It's like multiple times. And like I'm just trying to like play the game and move along. I fucking hate reading lore in games, you know what I mean? Well, to a degree, like Elden Ring, I can be slow about it and things. Like when I'm making a video, it's like, all right, let's just make this snappy and go. Yeah. And I don't read out loud either. So, but yeah, I was like,
for video purpose, you kind of have to.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Exactly. So I was like,
there's a blue duck around here. We gotta fucking find him. What?
There's multiple times I caught myself when I was talking about them trying to admit them for being schizophrenic or whatever. I read the thing and I was like, my brain was like, dude, that didn't sound right. Like, that didn't sound right. And you finished it. Like, go back. Like
when you're in a conversation with somebody and you're not paying attention. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you move past, like, I don't know what the fuck was just said. That's probably important. Should have paid attention.
Yeah. But then I was like, I went back and I rewatched it because I was like, okay, I read it like shit. Maybe if I watch it, I'll understand it. Still have no fucking idea.
No, yeah, no, there was definitely some parts where it's just like, it just didn't.
Yeah.
And I think that was the point, was to not make sense.
I think the minute I found out about the golden egg or whatever, I'm just completely lost from there on. I had no idea where I was, who I was, what time frame I was in. Then people were talking about the same people that they were. I was like, I just don't understand. I don't get it.
Yeah, stay the fuck away from Phil. That's what I'm saying.
And fuck that. That's fine because it's still creepy. It's a creepy fucking game.
Yeah.
It was like awkwardly creepy. Not like scary. Not like the scariest thing I've ever played.
Unsettling.
Yeah. Always waiting for something to happen. There was multiple times where I was like jump scare, and then I walked through the door. I was like, oh no, jump scare, and then like ran across the floor. I was like, motherfuck, I knew it. Like,
you know it's close.
Yeah,
you could time the double dutch.
Yeah, it's just something like I think Mortician's Assistant was way scarier. When I played that game for Halloween, it had a creepier feel, maybe just because there was always a dead body in the room. And like you were expecting something to happen with that dead body all the time, and then it didn't, or it did, or like something was off the corner or some shit.
Grandma at the window was the creepiest for me.
Yeah. Or when like
real,
where like you turn around and turn back and there was something in the corner that would like then immediately scurry off. It was overly unsettling, and you were always in that same spot. So you never got to leave the danger, right? Like your brain's like, I gotta go, like that flight or fight. Like you can't fight, so it's just flight, but you can't leave because you're just stuck in this one area. Like I think that for me just gave me a way creepier feel. Plus I played it like, 2 a.m. So every time something happened, the hairs on my fucking body would constantly.
Shit like that.
Yeah. This game was a lot more kind of just exploring and doing the stuff or whatever, but it was just super creepy. And just the way things were like, there's noise happening, but you were never seeing it. Like shit that was like running off in the bushes, or things would like change or whatever. Like that's the stuff that was creeping me out the most. Or like the fucking kid, like you hear the kids, I come back into the house and I hear the kids like footsteps or whatever running around. All the hairs on my body were like, and I was like, that one gave me the ick. Like, I'm not happy about that.
Spoopy games remain undefeated.
I swear, maybe that's what it is. I just need to play spoopy games and survival crafters.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't play too many spoopy games though. Like it's good for a little bit, but like,
I don't think I have the heart for it anymore.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm a pussy, but it's like there's like some part of just like spooky games where it's like I'm not playing them by myself. I'm not. No.
Yeah, I'm like playing them by myself in the dark, by like home alone, or like, you know what I mean, like late enough at night that like
I'll play them with you guys in Discord, and then I immediately go cuddle my girl and be like, "Hey, babe," turn on the TV, find something happy.
And this house is so old too that it just creaks. Like there's
like settling creaks,
and there's like a running joke that there's like a ghost in that like spare bedroom or whatever. Like, cause Sean spent the night here one night, and he was like, he had like a fucking full on like sleep paralysis demon like show up for him. He said he fell asleep.
It is the comfiest bed.
It is.
I get it.
He said he fell asleep with his legs crossed, and then he woke up in the middle of the night, and he said there was just something at the foot of the bed, and he just couldn't get out of like paralysis mode. And I was like, yeah, man, this place is fucking makes a lot of noise or whatever. But then I started going back and thinking, he's like, there's a lot of just like creaks and bangs that happen in this house that it's like, I don't believe in it. But I don't, it's like flat earth. I'm not going to completely write it off.
Flat sun.
Huh?
Flat sun.
Yeah.
Round earth, flat sun.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like the theory that it's round earth, but surrounded by a complete like digital like Truman Show. We just don't know what's on the actual outside of it. Everything is just projected. Yeah, just projected to us.
Oh man.
All right, let's wrap this fucking thing up.
Catch you in the next simulation, everybody.
Yeah. 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 Bye.
Yeah.